which we witnessed today, and there's a lot more hustle and bustle. But what would you say is the
That's
difference from when you first moved to right now?
Well, generally, just like the spirit's is like lifted.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I guess I could go for also like everywhere's a little bit happier too, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, the city does have its own. It's like a life of its own, a spirit of its own.
Well, I noticed like when I was walking through the quarter the other day that there were even more like galleries that were open and more like restaurants popping open. So like what had looked like shuttered forever is like now like breathing life. So that's been kind of cool.
Yeah, that is true. Man, it was so depressing.
Yeah.
During COVID, walking around seeing. Look, we did try to make lemons out of lemonade, and everyone did a bunch of street art on all those boards that were boarded up. So that was really cool. I actually have one.
When you did?
Olive oil. I didn't do it. I wanted to. Matt said it wasn't safe for me to strap Sydney on at 6 months old, for me to go downtown where it was empty and sling some paint. He was like, I don't approve. But he didn't let me. I could have gone if I wanted to, but he was like, I don't think that's that safe. But I did go and walk around everywhere. So I was like, I won't station somewhere and paint with my back to the world. But we did explore. But no, I have one. I'm not sure. It may be Josh. It kind of looks like his style. It's olive oil. Popeye, cool. It's a bunch of olive oil in it's a spray paint, of course, but it's like Warhol-esque style where it's like in boxes. Kind of a thing. It's right in this room. I say I have it. If you're listening out there, Hunter Berman, it's still in my house. So it was his and he left it here. So it's mine now. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it is a lot more lively. So did you expect, because you had visited before, did you expect it to be in any way as lively as it is now? Because like I said, when you first moved here, there was nothing.
Well, when I visited, I was really only here for like a day and a half, and I stayed over at Audubon, and so I never even came into the quarter and never really saw it. So I had zero anchor point. I don't even think I ever looked at it on TV or the internet before.
So then what made you, wow, really? What made you, you're so interesting. That's wild. So then when you signed the lease, we're not going to say where she is, but she's in the hustle bustle mix of it all. What was your first impression there? You're like, this seems great.
I started in a Sonder, so kind of like the.
Where's that? What's that?
It's like it's like Airbnb.
Oh yeah, you told me about this. Yes.
Except like more hotel.
Okay.
So I think I bought like a month to start, then I extended it 2 more months, and then I got a lease.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. For you never knowing anything about it, you sure do live right there. You sure are, right?
I do like a city center. Like when I lived in D.C., I was in a walkable community. When I lived in Miami, I was downtown. So like, I like a walkable community.
Yeah, of course. That's the dream.
Did I know that Brothers was going to be popping like that? Like, no. Like, I don't go places. Like, I like to get up early. Mm-hmm. There are 2 different gyms that I go to. I won't walk to the one unless it's light out.
Sure.
It is a little.
I don't go anywhere at night, and I live everywhere in New Orleans is a little bit, but just because I'm a morning person, so it kind of works out, Yeah. It's not the safest, but that doesn't mean that at 2 a.m. I'm not taking down my Christmas decorations on New Year's Day because I'm like, I don't want to look at them anymore. They've been up for too many weeks. So I will be out front sometimes in the middle of the night. Moonlighting, as I like to call it. And I feel like I'm totally fine. But I mean, no, I agree with you. I like being in a walkable area as well. You're totally spot on. What's the point of living in a city if you're going to live in Metairie? No offense to Metaireans, but like, you know what I mean? Even here, you got to drive.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's honestly like such a gift because you cross paths with people, you befriend them. Like a lot of the people that like own the shops, work in the shops, like it really feels like a community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's a good plus about the city in general. You move into a neighborhood and like that becomes your little family and you kind of just mostly stay in your little neighborhood unless you make a point to go out of it. Like there's pockets of mid-city, like Bayou St. John area.
Yeah.
Those people only go to like whatever grocery, I can't even think is Conseco's over there. anyway, they're like, Pals is my bar. That's my little grocery. I go for walks on the bayou, and that's it. So, yeah. That's, I mean, whether you were in the mix or not, that's what's so fun. I mean, I think it's fun. Okay, real hard-hitting questions here. You're known for your positive energy and optimistic demeanor. What would you say is one thing, such as like a repetitive phrase or affirmations, that get you to reset, like no matter what's going on?
Thank you for that reflection. Well, it changes. I'm generally working on like a new skill fairly often as far as like self-mastery. And one that I've been doing recently is this sequence of calling my attention to my heart and try to like tune in and perceive a visual of that. And then my belly, and then my hips, and then my chest. And then I envision something, and like I go through this like 8-step sequence to come into my body. So I've been trying to instill this idea of effortlessness, in that like joy would be natural except for wrong thinking. So rather than try to talk myself into feeling good, I try to just make space.
Okay. So that's a wonderful, wonderful answer. For people that, because you do teach and you do have a lot to offer, for anybody listening, go back to the beginning of that. You said you go through 8 steps, as if it was like, and you're like, it's effortless. I'm like, 8 steps seems like a lot of effort.
Well, and that actually is part of why it works, because I find that behind obsessive thinking or like overthinking is generally emotion. Mm-hmm. And rather than make room for the feeling we don't want to feel, we chase thought with more thought. And so I found that when I have like a longer sequence that actually requires me to pay attention, just like anything that engages all of you, you kind of have the opportunity to forget what you were chasing.
Right, because you're focusing on the 8 steps.
Yeah, so like sometimes if I would be in an emotional or like swirly state, I'd get to 3 and I'd be off in my little, tornado again and be like, okay, from the top, 1, 2, until I was grounded.
That's fascinating. I'm assuming you read that in a...
I just made it up.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, then we need the book now. You need to write that in the book now.
Thanks.
68 pages, and you could, make it short and sweet.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that would be... Let's do that. Let's get that book. I'd buy it.
Thank you.
I'd pre-order in the link below. We'll put it on the bottom of the screen.
If you are interested in coaching, habitbook.com.
Habit Book. See, she already has a book. Habitbook.com. Digital. You're so fascinating.
Thank you.
Okay, so in the spirit of offering, so we both are offering information. I like to try to be optimistic. It doesn't always work out. If I get upset or have a feeling, or instead of doing 8 steps, I just completely drown it out. Out loud, I will talk to myself and just say everything that I am grateful for, which I'm sure is in every single book, but I'm like, you own a home.
Yeah. You
have a great relationship. You still talk to your parents. You have friends from high school. I have new friends like Shaylee. I just go through every single thing. My car's running great right now. Just go through.
Yeah.
So say something is upsetting and it's like, literally, we're going to completely offset the scale and unbalance this one thing with every single thing that's going great in your life. Literally could be like, man, I had hard-boiled eggs, which I didn't, but I do love hard-boiled eggs. If I had it that day. Today I got given free pastries. That's pretty amazing. Yeah. So who's going to be upset about the accident or whatever? You get in an accident. So when I did get in that accident last year, I was like, best accident I could have gotten into. The lady had insurance. She got out right away and was so kind and considerate. I'm so sorry. It's my fault. It's a great accident. Everybody's safe. I get a rental car for 3 weeks. That's a great accident. Yeah. So I just drown it out instead of steps. I just drown it out with everything that's great. Even if it's not that great, it's like the grass is growing now. Yeah. The green things are popping up. Yeah. That makes me happy.
Yeah, that's a really strong strategy. And like, I think that in general, I don't know why it's more habitual for us to default to like stuff that doesn't feel good to think about, but it really is just a habit. Like you just grab that. Yeah.
Look, I could be the opposite. Pendulum tends to swing, overcorrect, whatever you want to call it. there's probably some things I should be focusing on that aren't that great that I need to take care of. Okay. Let's be honest. Like, for instance, my sister's like, have you made an appointment with the spinal doctor yet? With what, given our, anyway, I'm like, no, I don't want to go and hear what's wrong with me. No, thanks. I'm okay. I'm going to ignore that. So I need to be focusing on some things that aren't that great. But I just enjoy living in the happier, optimistic, the flowers are blooming. So I'm delusional. Toxic positivity is what my sister calls it. And I'm happy to be there. You don't have to join in on my toxic positivity. But I'm loving swimming around in it. I think it's magical.
Well, I find, like, I generally coach that if you are going to address something that isn't working or doesn't feel good, you got to get in a great state first, because that's when you allow the higher functioning of your brain. And so you can solve better when you're in a good state.
Yeah, mind and body are connected.
Yeah.
I just am now only thinking about my spine. Medical stuff is so boring, though, right?
I like it.
Do you feel that way?
Well,
like physical stuff. When somebody rambles off about, look, let's talk about it. I hope you get better, and then let's move on. Some people just only talk about their and I'm like, I don't know, man.
Well, I think that goes back to, like, when we were talking about some of the smaller town stuff, and not to overgeneralize.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like lack of alternative.
Yeah, so that is all you have going on. You're right. You have to go to the doctor. You have to take care of yourself. And if there's a problem, or maybe we just solved it, it's because of the companies that are pushing bad things there. So there's more health problems.
Well, I mean, that's possible for sure. And I think, too, like, to have something exciting to talk about is a risk, you know? Because, like, if you're on the edge, you might fail. You might look stupid, you know, like.
Yeah, but you never succeed unless you try.
Yeah.
And so you have to fail a whole bunch before you succeed.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I'm talking about a dating website. There's more fish out there.
Amen.
Yeah. Wow. Sorry, we're not coming for you, Zachary, Louisiana, but we kind of are. Go buy a scratch off if you're sad. I'm just kidding. What is wrong with you? I'm being rude. This is not typical. Okay, were you ever into astrology?
Oh, yeah, that's what I want to do for you. That's what I was asking.
Right. Okay, I kind of figured. Right. So, clearly I wrote these questions last night, so don't judge me. It's not as extensive. So, you really, really think, tell me more about that. You really think a birthday, I'll tell you why. Girl I went to high school with was a whole grade above me, born on the exact same day, same year. My birthday's late November, so she just started a year earlier. I graduated high school at 18. She was not a great person. She cheated on my friend, and I didn't like it. And I was like, I can't be associated with you. We're not the same.
Yeah.
We're not the same. I'm loyal. So ever since high school, I was like, yo, I'm really coming for Zachary today. Sorry,